Oh, I'm muted. Okay. Well, I was saying, yeah, that's amazing, man. That's a good decision, I think. Give it some time now, and then if at one point you need some of these features in a, you know, you can always go to it, right? Modal inputs. Yeah, so this is it now. Then if we get over here, yeah, I see. All right, so let's debug that. I have a few bugs. It's gonna be a pretty short stream. I mean, all of my streams are short, but so I guess we don't need this actually, right? It should be rounded by default, right? Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's also good. So let's debug that a little bit. So we have modal input, which is spawned in 2 places, I presume. So if it's a YouTube video, and if link is enabled, yes, position, ref, blah, blah. So that technically should be fine, right? And it kinda is. Let me just smack this bad boy here, right? Great, okay, cool. So we have that, and then we should be able, in theory, to unlink it, right? Okay. Okay, cool. And then what else did I write? And then we have the YouTube thing, which is, I guess, okay now. We could go ahead and no, it's actually over here, modal input, right? Yeah. So we have the button here. I did extend the button to take the icon, right? So we could do it like, right, yeah, minus this one. What the hell? And then we can do this, right? And then actually we can do this as well. And then there's another one, this one. And then we can also do this, that, and that. Okay, cool. Interesting. Oh. Yeah, we should actually probably fix that. Let's go to the button, or just update it. So I've implemented this new logic. Let's just say that icon position. Luminex, my friend, good evening. How are you doing, buddy? How's life? Can I just say... Yeah, no, that's... yeah. I mean, yeah, we could do something like that, right? But I'm not. Okay. Let's just see. How is life, my dude? What's up? I just want to confirm that's the issue. Yeah, it is, in fact. Interesting. Oh shit, man, that's you should probably go to bed. You should probably go to bed. $2 a.m. But still you came, so I appreciate that, man. That's very kind of you. Thank you for that. It's also gonna be a very very short stream. I just kind of wanted to, yeah, see if people had some questions, because I was recording a lot of YouTube videos lately, and a lot of people are now starting to follow my YouTube channel, like a lot. It seems that these short videos that I'm doing, it seems that people actually like them, believe it or not. So I'm gonna keep doing that. It seems reasonable. Cassie, my friend, wow, he's alive. It seems that I should be, for sure, it seems that I should be definitely, yeah, exactly. You get me, Numinex, right? I think I should be starting making like 7 seconds videos and stuff. I think I'm gonna become, finally, get the popularity I deserve. Well, I mean, it's, and then if I combine it with just talking crap the entire stream, it's a huge win, right? G Bounty, my friend, good evening. I think that would suffice. For sure. Crap combined with a short attention span sells immediately. You don't even have to code. You can just, you know what I mean. Coding is not necessary. Zyno, good evening, Zyno. Alright, so cool. So I'm just fixing some tiny bugs and some improvements. Hopefully some people will have some questions. Oh yeah, and another thing that I wanted to do, I added this new component today. What is it named? Platform something. Add social platform. Yeah, exactly this one. So I'm just gonna go over here. I'm gonna close this one. Add social platform. Yeah, this one. So yeah, so that I don't like. So let's go to add social platform. Yeah, it's this one. And yeah, so yeah. So I'm gonna do that. And then let's also do the this stuff here. Icon position. Icon name. Icon add, right? And then we can kind of mute this, right? And I just want to say add, if we should add the text or not. Add platform. Yeah, maybe I should leave it like that, in fact. I don't actually know. Alright, let's keep it simple. Okay, great. But what I want to do is I just made a tiny board here, so this I solved already. Cool. So this is also done now. And hopefully this tiny thing that I just found with the tip tap should also be done, I believe. What happened with this thing? So yes, if we go here, hopefully this thing now is going to be fine. It comes to links. But I'm just going to skim through that very quickly again. So we have a link, right? So is extension enabled if name is link, right? And yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure if I'm gonna stream Cassie, but my wife had to wash her hair, and she has like super long hair. It takes like 2 hours to. And I put my son to bed, and I'm like, all right, I'll just give it a shot, right? So it's a pretty bad stream, you know. And also, I'm listening to a lot of jazz because I started playing saxophone as well, so I'm listening to a lot of jazz lately because of the tunes that I want to play there, and that I'm already playing some. This is a little bit problematic here. Give me a second. So is this really correct? Where is the link logic? Yeah, this is a little bit weird. Extensions. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so they are lowercase. Okay, good. So that's great. Okay, so that's technically good. Okay, let's push these tiny things, right? What did I do? Just some minor changes. Yeah. Jazz is. I mean, jazz is amazing for sure. Yeah. All right, so let's do this, and yeah, let's do that as well. Cool. Let's I guess do this as well, right? Fix tip tab link regression styling. Don't drop the database. The guy that I remember who used to like my streams, he was all over the place. At one point in time, he was even, I want to help you, man. I want to build programmer network with you. And then he disappeared, you know, guys. He disappeared under the disguise that he was painting his house. But this has been the longest painting I've ever seen. I mean, it's really long. Such a long paint job. Good evening, buddy. How dare you leave me? I was already right. Did I find someone who I'm willing to give access to programmer network? Is this the person? Did it happen? Is that it? You know, I was thinking, right? He was so persistent. And then, actually, that's true. I was just acting cool. No, of course, man. It's, as I always say, this is a marathon, right? So it's lovely. I'm gonna ask my Doru, my friend from work. He's a designer. I'm gonna see if he's willing to help me. He's the designer in my team. I want to see if he's willing to. I'm gonna teach him guitar or something, and he can just help with programmer network. Because I spend 99% of my time lately, past couple of months, just styling things. Right? It's so hard, man. It's so difficult. I can program anything in any language, anytime, right? In any runtime. But doing design is like, it's a different beast. It's insane, man. UX, UI. And I'm not talking about things looking nice, it's just not having someone to help with that is so hard, man. I mean, I don't need that now, right? I have my own library that I built, right? So I don't need components. Writing a component, it's about building interfaces, views, right? It's not that I'm missing a button, right? Or something like that. No. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a fair point, right? But another UI library, if I'm not using my own, would not solve anything. I have my rules as well. That doesn't mean that I can just decide how the whole social platform should look like, right? That is the hard part, right? Yeah, this is different, right? This is a little bit different, right? I mean, you're absolutely right. It's always a balance, right? but it's slightly different. Okay, let me just try this now. But yeah, either way, right? Having a dedicated having a dedicated is like if this or some other project in the future succeeds, the first person I would hire is a designer instantly. That would be the first person I would hire full time, because I don't really need developers to that extent, right? If I would have someone who would provide tangible mockups, right, that I can just execute on, oh my god, it's like, okay, nice. So we did fix it. Okay, beautiful. So it was in fact a regression, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, that's good to know. So that's done, and yeah. Okay, so let's do another tiny thing. So let's go to the dashboard. Today I've done this stuff here. Interesting. Okay, what did I actually want to do here? I forgot. What did I write? Ah, yeah, okay. So I think I want to just add a delete next to each one of these social platforms. Very tiny, irrelevant things, but I just need to get done with this, man, and start doing some other features like for this platform and etc. etc. But yeah. No, I mean the thing is, Cedric, right? For all these years as my tech lead, right? The hardest thing when it comes to OKRs, objectives, and key results is, and the most fun part. That's why I love going to work. The reason why I love my work is that every single day I solve these problems, right? It's just I do that 8 hours a day at my work. For this project, I have 1 or 2 hours a day, right? And at work, I have a designer. And even with the designer, I mean, I'm not the Doro, for example, at work right now, my designer in my own team. It's not that he designs things and we just do it. In 99.9% cases, we don't. Because I jump in, I start challenging it, and that is super fun. It's just in this project, like Programming Network, I wish that I didn't have to do that, right? Because there's so very little time for me to work on this. Like, I mean, I'm literally, even this stream, or if I'm not streaming, this 1-2 hours I have is very squeezed in, barely, right? So if I just had some help, it would be amazing. But I thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it. But yeah, that's what it is. I mean, that's just how it is. Where was this thing, man? Yeah, it's here. Okay, cool. So the only thing I want to basically do is just, I'm just going to come here and I'm going to say button, right? It's actually just like this. And I'm going to say, yeah, like icon. And I'm going to say icon name. And I'm going to say delete, or what did I build as part of this library? Icon delete bin. We'll do this, right? Great. I'm going to say that this is outlined, right? Whatever, it doesn't really matter. And then we'll just say class name, right? And flex. There's an extension. I think. Wait, I think I had a command here before. I didn't stream for like 2 months, so I forgot the commands. Yeah, there it is. What? Ah, I see. Okay, I literally forgot what I did here. Wait a minute. Okay. So you can do that, and let's see what the hell is happening here now. I guess. I mean, the platform is obvious. So you have to understand that I'm not doing this platform necessarily because I think it's gonna be a new Reddit, right, or anything like that. This is I just want to push this through to the whole experience, right? So this is more of a way to prepare for the next commercial project that I'm gonna build off stream and build a company, right? So that's why I don't constrain myself with any things, because I'm using this as a journey to, to figure out some things. I'm basically, this is my battlefield for testing new weapons, right? So it's the outcome of this project. It doesn't really matter to me, because the outcome isn't the goal, right? If it becomes something, great. If not, I already won, right? So the underlying reasoning or why I do this is not the project. There's more than 1,000 users signed up. It's just there's no really use for people now. And I mean, writing blogs, not rocket science. You can do that in a million places, right? Unfortunately, developers have this tendency to think that if they want to write blogs, they should have their own blogs, which also makes no sense, right? Because it's like with people who think they want to build video games, then they start building a game engine, right? So majority, of people don't write articles, for example, or any other content, or record courses, right? So but again, I don't really care. Like, if people find it useful eventually, great. If not, I don't really care. If I wanted to do a commercial project now, I would stop and do several other ideas that I could actually sell, but I would not stream it and I would not waste time on Twitch, right? So this is now just preparing the ground for next thing, which is gonna actually make money, right? Because Twitch is, let's face it, majority of the audience here is still drinking milk before bed, right? So I love you too, man. What is happening with this? Why is this not spanning full width? What am I missing? But anyway, let's build the functionality, right? So what we're gonna do here, we're simply gonna so here we're gonna say on click, right? And hopefully Copilot is gonna help us here, really. Right, exactly, right? Yeah, super strange. What? I don't actually want to do it like this, right? That's a little bit lame, right? Oh, ouch. Alright, cool. So that's good. Yeah, so that's kind of almost it, right? It's just that this... what is actually this? That's a little bit weird. Object state, social profiles, valued out map. So this is, in fact, an array, it seems, right? Let's see. Yeah, exactly. What? Oh, I see. It's object.keys, right? Okay. So we basically need to do something like this, right? Wait a minute. So this is going to yield the array, right? All right. Okay, so you're basically, that's a polite way to tell me to change it to something else. Is that what you're saying? I guess that's what you're saying. Okay, let's like Alex, like, can you make this evening any worse? Is what you're saying, basically, right? Asshole. All right. Little bitches just complaining. You gotta satisfy them all the time. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So that kind of works, right? What? Wow, that's super weird. Give me a second. Yeah, that is correct. I would like to think so, right? But before we yeah, that is fine. Okay, so far everything's good. So why is this fella complaining? Okay. So let's just say here that this essentially here is all right, so that thing should okay, cool. All right, cool. So that in theory now should work. Oh, wow. That completely worked, didn't it? Actually, no. So no, this was an object. Yeah, that's the problem, right? So that's what I messed up. Okay, because this essentially has to be a reduce, right? This is in fact an object, and here we have an accumulator and a current value, right? So basically here we have to say, I mean, I would much rather do it like that, right? So now technically that should yield us the results we want, right? Okay, cool. So let's clean that up. And let's do this stuff, right? All right, cool. And then of course we need to change the interface of this, right? So this basically now is not an array, it's just an object. Even though this is a little bit weird, but all right, cool. Well, that's solved. That works, right? All right, cool. So let's now figure out why. And let's not use a lambda function here, right? Let's turn this into an actual method or a function to say in this context, right? So let's take this fella somewhere up here. So let's say handle delete, right? And here we can just give it a platform, right? Just gonna be a string. And yeah, we're not returning anything, right? So let's go down here, and over here we're gonna say, hey, when I click this, take in the platform. Cool. All right, and the lastly, right? Let me make sure what's up with the flex here, and why is it not a little bit weird? So it's not this one. It's something with these fellas that's wrong. Class name. Yeah, that's a bit weird. Domain class name. Let me just take a look at one thing. Okay, it's not that. Why is this not growing? Is it grow or what is it? Jesus Christ, man, what was it? All right, there we go. All right, cool. Well, yeah, that's great. Now the main question is though, and there's one thing that I dislike here very much, but that's what it is. So this is also done. Where's our backlog? So where's my bugs thing here, right? So that's complete. Let's mark this all as done. I just wondered, when I click add, should I automatically call the API or need, yeah, let's do that and push this, right? So when we delete, let's also call handle update or whatever. What do we have? Handle domain change. What do I have inside of here? Upload avatar. Do I have some submit handler or whatever? Where is the save button? Oh, I see. Yeah, that's because this is okay. So handle save is here, right? Cool. So let's pass that down, right, to a profile. So authenticated user. Weird. Why do I need that? We'll see in a second. But I guess what we can do. And what does this handle save actually take? Nothing. All right. So let's go to this. I suppose. Yeah. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna smack this fella over here. And yeah, so we're gonna do this. This is synchronous, so we don't have to worry about anything. And then we'll just handle say, right? And we're gonna do the same when I do the other thing with this new component we created. What is it? Give me 2 seconds. Let's play some Metallica or something. No, let's play Iron Maiden. Let's play Blood Brothers. No, let's play Dream of Mirrors. Literally listening just to my brain. Yeah, this one handled the main change. Nah, okay. Come on, man. Seriously. I mean, this is asynchronous though, right? So, but it's fine. Okay. You probably, yeah, I mean, I don't know when did you visit the website last time, but you have to clear the cache, yeah, for sure. All right, so let's take a look at that. So now, technically, when I add an actual platform like GitHub reactjs, we should be calling the API, right? Yeah, exactly. So the only thing we're really not doing, it's a little bit weird, is where is the handle save? We should. Why didn't we call the success done thing? So I would have a. Oh, okay, maybe because I zoomed into oblivion, right? And so let's try that again. Wow, that's weird. What? Yeah, something isn't right. Think I've heard these words before. Something makes me feel just might lose my mind. Okay, so this doesn't work actually. So that's a little bit strange. All right. Is this a new reality? Yeah, so it's probably a concurrency issue, right? So yeah, this doesn't. Yeah, I mean, not probably, most definitely, it's a concurrency issue, right? We need to wait really for this thing to finish, right, before we call this say, right? Thank you very much for the follow, and Numinix, give me 3 seconds. I'm genuinely interested in what you're asking, because let me just solve this. Okay, so yeah, so that's what it is, right? So what we're actually gonna do to save me from myself, I only dream in black and white. I only dream 'cause I'm alive. I only dream in black and white. To save me from myself. The dream is true. Okay, so yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer, yeah. I mean, we could do, in theory, something like this, right? Bear with me. So we could basically have an effect that listens on the length, right? So let's test that. Console.log, right? Yeah, because length now it was different, right? Save me from myself. I only dream in black and white. I only dream 'cause I'm alive. I only dream in black and white to save me from myself. Alright, cool. Okay, Numinix, taking a look at that. Okay, so I'm just gonna push this to production because it's good enough. Actually happy with the outcome of this, so that was good. Alright, clicking on your screenshot. No. So no, not really. But man, that's a good feedback, Numinix. That's just a UI element. It's just a visual element. It's just like a border. So this, and you can see it's dynamic. I made this separator. This is called divider component, and I made it so whenever it just generates one of the 3 shades of this, you can see whenever I actually refresh, it's a different set of these 3 of these colors, right? If that's confusing, I should probably then nuke that. Thank you very much for the follow. Let's make a question break for 1 minute. Let's see if people have any questions, anybody, especially new people. Please feel free to ask anything you want. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna get a cookie. Fighting with this bag in front of several people. Beautiful. All right, any questions? Let's see before we continue. Oh, you mean the bag? Wow, really? This? Oh man, what the hell? Oh dude, why is my desktop audio so loud? Dude, what the hell happened? Wow, I'm sorry for that. Jesus Christ. DT Code, man. Good evening, buddy. How are you doing? Yeah, man, I haven't been streaming for some time. But I think I'm back. I think I'm back. How are you doing, man? How's life? I'm just trying now in the streams to kind of have this question time, so people who have questions I can answer them and then code and then answer new questions and then code again. So I'm trying this new thing. Nice, man, nice. I was part of hackathon at work a couple of months ago at Dream Data, where I work currently, and we used Vertex AI because we're heavily depending on GCP, Google Cloud Platform. We used the LangChain as well. So yeah, I mean, it was fun. I built some LLM with my colleague Iker. We built our own LLM, but then we had to wait for many hours overnight for it to get trained with the way that we primed it, right? And it was very expensive. I think it was like $200 per training or something like that. Then we played with LangChain and with Vertex AI, as I said, and Vertex AI was super cool. We have all of these tools at Dream Data where I work, so that was pretty cool. Numinex actually, man, that's not a bad idea, you know. Actually, that's okay. Let me rephrase. That's a very good idea, man. Because what I wanted to do tomorrow is add the latest developers here, right? Because we have this /programmers, right? If you go to Programmer Network, we have this page /programmers of all of the people who signed up so far. And I wanted to have another widget here, maybe called, latest signups, latest developers, latest whatever, right? But that's not a bad idea at all. Like having this to switch context, right? Would a UX of that be clear enough, though? Is the question, right? I'm not so sure. Maybe. But it's yeah. I mean, we could turn, because this now is just this is all part of our core library, right? Yeah, let's play with that a bit. I mean, since you're suggesting it anyway, right? Let's do that a little bit, right? Because it's fine. I mean, I miss our sessions where we would build these things more together. You know, a lot of people have kind of lost that initiative, unfortunately, but let's try that, right? Because all of this is built by us anyway, right? There's no third-party stuff here, so let's see what we have. I think I call this widget or something. I think I call this content widget. Yeah, this is the component, right? Let's open it in isolation, in a sandbox, in a storybook, right? So if we go over here, right, this is the content widget, right? And this divider that I told you about is basically a component of mine, right? I wrote this component in very long ago in a stream, and you can see it just takes 3 different colors or n number of colors, and then it shuffles them, right? So if this was like BG, if this was like a BG, rows 500, right? Well, then you can imagine that it would be a shades of red that randomly shuffle as you visit the component, right? Let's do that, man. I mean, I'm up. Since you're suggesting some stuff, why not, man? We can do that fairly easily. Okay. So what is our scope? So let's do it like this. So let's create a simple to do here. So let's say to do. So what is our scope for this? So make what are divider looking like lines clickable, and switch context. Okay. Whatever, and then we're gonna say add make it a carousel with some speed options, auto play, etc. Right? Okay, let's just set this to critical, and let's say this is low, right? For now, just so we don't allow any scope creep in here. Okay. Okay, cool. So this is essentially where our divider is, right? We could kind of try to be smart here and extend our divider. Did I write tests for this? Yeah, so we'll need to update the tests, but we could make these lines clickable in the divider as well. But then we should probably change this divider so it doesn't shuffle these colors in a random way, because I probably have yeah, here it is, array util shuffle. So I have these array utilities, and then I shuffle this thing, right? So we could technically just say, you know, classes.map. So this would ensure the same order every time. So that's number one. But the question is, should we do this? Probably not, right? Because this is a different component entirely, right? Okay, so let's not do that. Okay, so let's not touch this one. So what do we need? Well, we need to know how many steps, right? So this component, so let's define an interface for this component, or let's see how we're imagining to use this. So this content widget takes these things right now, right? Yeah, so he takes the items, right? So do we want to, you know, do we want to make this component smart enough to fetch things, right? Do we want to pass things from the outside? That is the main question, right? Because that changes things drastically, right? All right, let's figure it out. So if we're going to end up having n number of these little lines or dots or whatever, right? So if we do stuff like this, yeah, so imagine this is 1 and 2 and n, right? Each one of these has to be associated to some state, right? So this is going to be data 1, data 2, right? And data n. Let's just call this data n. So yeah, I mean, you see where I'm going with this, right? So now the question is, should this component take a service, and that service calls whatever the endpoint you give it? Then we have to couple this widget with some of my, right? With some fetching HTTP library, or should it just take, it should trigger the fetch of some data, just trigger it, but it's being passed from the outside, right? So that is, and then, you know, you would probably want to memoize. So if a user, yeah, exactly, this would be now like a nav bar. So if you're clicking in one of these three, right, probably also want to do some caching. You don't want to be fetching every single thing by one click, right? Okay, so I have an idea. Okay, cool. So let's do that. I'm actually gonna get inspired by my component, by this thing, what I already have, right? And I'm gonna get this thing in here. I'm not gonna use a divider because divider is something different. So I'm just gonna smack this bad boy in here. And I'm not gonna shuffle anything. And we're just gonna going to yeah, hard code something. So let's simplify this drastically. So we're gonna have this, then in here I'll say you know, text so I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, let's say 3 times, but this is gonna have to be dynamic based on how many tabs, let's say, you want to have. And here I'm going to say 40, no, say 60, 40, and 20. So this should yield us something, I hope. So text primary, text color, and this basically is missing a BG now. So I think it's missing this, if I recall, right? Let me go to the divider. So we're gonna do that, that, and that. Okay, so that should give us something on the screen. Okay, here it is, right? Okay, cool. Let's make this a little bit fatter, if I may. And just give me 1 second. Let's just make a 1 minute break. Somebody on YouTube is asking, what do you think is a reasonable asking amount for a raise for a 1-year junior developer? I mean, that really depends on how much value you provide, and you should be your biggest judge, of course, and be reasonable, right? So if you think that you're doing more than what you're expected, then it's fair to ask for more. If you are utilizing that workspace to learn and you are being a liability and not an asset, then whatever you get, you should be happy, right? So there's no such formula to determine how much is enough or not enough. Of course, getting a raise always is about your personal social skills as well. So sometimes you will not get what you deserve. Some people will get more than they deserve because they're good at negotiating, right? But the answer for you is you have to determine how well you did and what the feedback that you got so far is. And then when you do that, you maybe don't deserve anything, or to say you at least deserve probably something around at least inflation amount. But maybe you don't even deserve that, and that's fine as long as you're happy, gaining knowledge. And because again, a lot of juniors don't realize that they are in fact liabilities for many months when they join until they become assets in a way of being useful, right? Because whenever your colleague sits with you and mentors you, that costs money because time is money, right? So that's the response on the question. Alrighty. So, Numinix, are you still with me? Okay, cool. So let's imagine we have this thing. Next thing we want to do, right? We want to make sure that it's clickable, right? So I'm going to say here, cursor pointer. So when I hover over it, it does something, and then we can add some hover, as you said. So we're going to say hover BG primary background color. Absolutely, man. My pleasure. My pleasure. Don't be too hard on yourself, but don't forget to be honest with yourself as well, and have self-awareness. And if you do know for a fact that you have in fact contributed a lot and you deserve it, ask for it. Don't be shy. The worst thing you can do is never ask, because human beings are we like to exploit each other. So if you make your company get used to you not wanting more and not even being able to ask for more, then you'll never get it, right? But keep in mind, we don't inherently deserve things just because we are alive. What you will hear this especially from a lot of people like radical left. I deserve. None of us deserve anything, man. Only thing you deserve is what you fight for and what you earn. That's the only thing you deserve. And if you can't get it, then you probably don't deserve it, right? That's how it is. That's the unfortunate tragedy of this planet. We're building it's a platform for, you can go and sign up, I hope. Right now we're just building improving some component. I got some feedback from one of the viewers, so we're just playing with that a bit. Okay, so Numinix, so you know what we can do now? So we can associate, so we can do this in a super simple way. We can associate each one of these controls with a specific thing that we pass it, right? So when we loop through these, we're not going to be really calling them classes. We're going to call them something else. But we can associate each one of these with some function. So it's going to be a handler that says, hey, you clicked on this. And then from the outside, a consumer. Exactly. Literally like that, yes. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go and do that, right? So we're going to go here and we're going to say, hey, well, you know what? So items is fine, right? Then we can memorize certain things. We can memorize them literally manually if need be. But here we can say, let's call it actions, because that's a very generic term, and that's the only term that came to my mind at this point in time, right? And I just don't know better one, right? Now, like how in detail we want to couple this to certain things, right? So for example, you could say here, well, what if we have a, endpoint, right? No, that couples it way too much, right? Because then this component suddenly suggests it's only using for calling and APIs, which it shouldn't. So we can have an ID, right? That's almost or UID of some kind, right? And we can make it optional. 9 to 5. Good evening, buddy. What an opening. What an opening into the stream. And of course, and then we can generate, based on how many actions there are, we can generate these colors, right? So we can always maybe keep the same color. It doesn't really matter, right? So here we're going to say actions, right? And here we're going to have an ID, right? That's what this action yields, right? We don't really need this. So we're going to use ID because we know it's going to be unique. And yeah, we don't really need the BG. So here we're just going to... and let's do this, right? And then we're going to go to our storybook, right? Over here. And we'll smack that bad boy. So we're going to say actions. And yeah, we'll just pass few objects. Yeah, like this. Great. I don't know why did it cast it though. Makes no sense. So now we have the actions, we have the IDs. What? Are you kidding me, man? Oh. My bad, okay. And then here we'll just say, whatever. BG text color by 40. Can be the same color, hopefully. And is this actually working? Thank you everybody for your follows, appreciate it. Interesting. Wow. Okay. That's oh, did I update the wrong yeah, with custom items. Okay. So I updated the wrong what is it? Yeah, default. So this is what I actually wanted to do. Okay. Cool. Okay, so now we have two of them, right? Let's make sure that yeah, that they're positioned properly somewhere. So what do we have here? Hover, blah blah blah. Justify center. So let's not justify them in the center, right? That's probably what, yeah. So, or we can just use grid or something like that. That would be a more intelligent way to do this at this point, right? And then the number of columns would be the length of the actions, right? So I guess it's just my assumption right now. Let's give it a shot. So here, what I could say, hey, grid. And then I could say, right, but it's a dynamic class. Let's see if it's going to work. And then we can say here, grid calls, and then length of that thing, right? So we can say actions.length, right? And then here, even though it's not necessary, you can say just span, call span 1. So that technically works, probably, I assume. All right. Let me take a look at that. So yeah, so we do have in fact a grid in here. So we can see here, and let's see why is it aligned as is. So I don't want this gap. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I mean I think we got what we want. It's just now basically I don't want it. I don't know what it's creating this artificial gap because it. Wait a minute. Grid calls too. Yeah, so that's correct. Okay, well, I mean, it's a little bit weird. Fuck CSS. Yeah, I feel your pain, man. But it's an absolute must, right? Maybe it's something here. Width 28. Yeah, maybe it's something. Oops. You know, like the thing, I have a few videos on YouTube talking about CSS, right? See, like that is the unfortunate thing about right? It's like if you don't know CSS, you're kind of screwed, right? That is the problem. And the reason why you're screwed is because no matter what you do, how well you can write your JavaScript or whatever, right? It doesn't really matter, right? Because at the end of the day, if you can't make things to look nice, then whatever you're building is useless, and that is unfortunately the problem, right? My brain is just trying to produce some things now, so bear with me. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, due to the Tailwind compiler, but we'll figure it out. Don't worry. You're right indeed. But these are very general classes. Tailwind has these classes, right? Because these are not like color hashes and stuff like that, right? But let's see. Okay, so this is almost cool, right? But not quite. So what if we just say this, and then here we say gap 4. Oops, not there. My bad. And we say gap 4. Yeah, that's it. Okay, great. Well, in fact, then we don't really need that, right? Do we? So that's great. So, right, because now if I go here and I say, hey, wait a minute, let's, I actually want to have 3 of them, then it should in fact be 3. Okay, cool, right? And we can reduce this gap. All right, great. And then, so now you can say this is some sort of our navigation of ours, right? Well, next thing I suppose is we need like active state, right? So which one is active, right? So we're gonna have to have an internal state inside here, right? So let's do that very quickly. So here we can say const. We can say active action ID. Right? That's cool. And then over here, we'll obviously compute a dynamic class name. We're going to say, yeah, exactly. Beautiful. And then when we click on one of the fellas, right? On click. Yeah, exactly. There we go, right? Okay, cool. Let's, instead of using important here, which I despise genuinely, let's just be a bit more manual, but we'll do this, right? I like this more. It's more explicit, right? My sites looked like from 2013, so I switched to backend. Well, I mean, you should try to avoid important, and you're probably expecting me to talk about performance now and stuff. No, not because of performance. It's because it's not intuitive enough, right? The worst case, I know the Tailwind community and these guys at Tailwind team have created this merge utility, right? That's gonna do these for you. But in generally, for past 20 years, you should have always been discouraged to use importance, right? There's always a different way to do that, right? Exactly, yes. Because the thing is, right, when it comes to precedence of the CSS, right, the CSS essentially, inline styles, nothing can override them. Then you have internal styles, then you have external styles, right? And then on the top of all of these, you have the important. And important doesn't really play any role when it comes to inline styles. But then, so you might have a mixture of, you might be supporting some super legacy project, and it's very painful. It's the same reason why inline styles are not suggested other than when JavaScript is setting the styles inline, right? Because like when you think about it this way, right, it's very simple, right? But it's very important, right? If I have an H1 here, right, that says hello world, right? It's very easy to come here and say, you know, color red, right? And that's great. But then you can have another style in here, right? And this is now JSBin, so I don't know how JSBin is gonna behave. So now you have because this is not an external style now. And then you had an inline style, which would be like color blue, right? So now you have to do this. But then here you could have had important, right? So you can see there's so many. Now you have to figure out, I mean, and again, you will not do this in a modern project, I hope. But you will see this sort of stuff in external projects where there's a bunch of different sources of CSS, in WordPress, in many places, right? Now you have to figure out, okay, well, what is setting the color? Where is this color set? Is it in here? Is it in here? Is it in external CSS? God freaking knows, right? So it's painful, right? You should avoid it whenever you can. Okay, so we have this thing now. What is the next thing that we need? We need a handler, right? We need an event handler. So, and we have one here, right? So when I click this, so we're gonna pass an event handler now that we need outside of here, right? So let's extend this interface, right? And somewhere here I'm gonna say on action click. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable name because and then we can, if we decide that actions is a very too generic term, we can change them all, and then the handler as well, and all of the other stuff. So yeah. And what I like to do when I build my components, I like to kind of namespace them a little bit, right? Even though that's often bad because of the props and stuff. These actions, probably we should have actions, then the items or whatever, and then this as part of that. But it's okay, doesn't matter. Let's just keep on doing this stuff. So we're gonna get it over here, and yeah, every time I click this stuff, right, what I will want to do is I'll want to call this function as well, right? Right. So if we now go to the storybook, we can basically, here we'll right. So if we now go here and click it, it should be showing us an alert with that specific ID, right? And we're blocking the main loop, right? Beautifully see that. See, a perfect example of concurrency in JavaScript. Look how we just blocked the execution of everything. See, the state has not been yet set. Beautiful. Okay, great. So now we have this thing that, and let's not do the alert. Let's just do console log or whatever. So that's. Did I change the wrong one? Yeah, I did. Okay. alert. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so that's great. So now we have that. So we have basically this thing that, yeah, we can use as some sort of carousel, right? Now, of course, now we're getting to a little bit more complex thing. Not complex, not at all. It's just now we have to figure out how do we want to pass these items, right? And now we're getting to the point of caching, right? So let's imagine that these three things represent three different APIs that show 3 or n number of latest something, latest X, right? Users are naturally going to come and click around, and we need to have some sort of cache at least, right? And we will, and we can memorize it, right? So we can associate each of the items to a specific ID in state, right? So what we could, in theory, do, right, we could associate this ID to all of the items we're passing. So we could basically pass an object with n number of arrays or something like that. Then they would have to adhere to some interface. Otherwise, we would have to make basically another prop of a component that this line can be. So we can either keep this generic, so hey, any items that you pass to this have to have a title. You normalize it outside of the component, which is how components should be written. They should be stupid and clean and not transform your data anyway. Or alternative to that is like you can say, well, we're going to support anything. Just you pass this guy as a custom component, right? And then, but we're not going to do that. Because then the component becomes too much. It becomes an app almost, right? Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do, and it's always easier to build these components looking at the interface, looking at the how do I want to call this. It's the same with functions. If you're designing a function, if you're writing unit tests, it's always so easy to first use the function and then define the function, right? It's like, you would draw a schematic of something and then you would start building it backwards. Okay, so these items now we can associate them to the IDs, right? So a caller of this would have to do that, right? So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say, well, you know what? I'm going to pass a hash table here. And this hash table is going to be very simple, right? It's going to look like, in this case, action 1. And then it's going to be an array, right? And then same with the action 2. And you can see it's actually good. I'm using Faker here, so it's going to generate us some dummy data. And that is also the beauty of sandboxed thing like this, like Storybook. It really should be your best friend when it comes to doing any UI work. Absolutely. Then the component becomes an app. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, right, your goal should always, you should always strive to make things simple, right? Simplicity is so hard, right? You might get impressed by complexity, but in reality, simplicity is the hardest than complexity, right? Making things simple is way harder than making things complex, right? Because that's where experience, that's what seniority means. Being able to take complex things and make them simple. And what junior means taking anything and inherently making it complex, right? Yeah, making things boring, exactly. Boring is good. That's how it should be, yes. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about the interface of this. So this is basically now an object, right? Wait, let me just, I need to think. Items of T, right? Yeah. How do we type this, man? Because right now, right, this is basically a record of string to an array, right? So okay, yeah, I see what's happening here. Okay, so essentially, items is gonna be something like record, a string of this, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much. Yes, yes. Yeah, exactly. I've disabled any in this project. That shit is not allowed. Why are you not using TypeScript? And then falls back to writing TypeScript like JavaScript. Okay, so the items now, obviously, right, are the items now are a hash table, an object, right? So obviously we can't loop them through the list like this, but we can do object keys over it, right? And then each key is an actual ID, which yeah, right. So this fell over here. So actually, before I do this, let me just copy paste because I will still need this statement, right? So I'll actually still need this later because we will still need to loop this. But here, object dot keys, right? Items, and then we're gonna have a key here, right? Yeah, Masa, let's see. It needs to be, let's make the small steps and then I'm absolutely, I don't mind. Okay, so, okay, now actually, you know what? Wait, before we change this. So now when we click on these things, what we really want to do is we want to, so because we'll always really have a single, so we just need to swap between the things. So this is actually not even stupid, right? So this is actually fine, because in theory, if I'm thinking right now, so this is going to give us the IDs. Object, yeah, exactly. So this is going to give us IDs now. Or right, there we go, something like that, right? And of course we need to ensure that we always have some default state, right? So just so we don't bleed like this. So what we're going to do, so this thing here always has to be at least, or it can be just yeah, something like that, right? So now we have 3 different states fiddling here, right? Okay, cool. Alrighty, we have a question. Let's go ahead and answer it. How do you stay focused for long periods of time? I mean, I'm not always focused, right? I'm not much different than you or anyone else. But in order to stay focused, you need to. I recorded a video on YouTube, I think yesterday, from yesterday's stream. It's called "Somebody Asked Me How Do You Prevent Burnout." I think it's a similar response to that. The way that you stay focused is that you're healthy mentally and physically, number one, and then of course that you there are many factors, right? There are many factors. Of course, I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, a medical person to give you that type of advice, but I can talk on behalf of myself. I mean, you have to put yourself in a state where you can get interested about things at the first place, right? You can't be a complainer, crybaby, or what. I mean, it's also it relates to a mentality of what it is that you expect from yourself in a reasonable period of time. People have hard time focusing due to many reasons. Some of them have hard time focusing because they would like to become, I don't know, software engineers in 3 seconds, right? Some just have, it's a generational thing as well now. You have so much access to information, but not to go and open million of these different reasons of why one can be distracted. You need to grow up, right? You need to be professional, right? So I don't know, you need perspective in your head. You need to in order to understand how fortunate you are for doing this type of work, right? I mean, never in history of humankind people could make money, and so much money, than sitting home or in the office drinking coffee, pressing keys and making money, right? If you look at the humanity up until 30 years ago, it was brutal, right? 100 years ago or 200 years ago, people were killing each other with swords, right? So how do you stay focused? Well, you stay focused by building yourself as a person, trying to decipher some of this philosophy in your head, trying to be grateful for what you have, and trying to keep that, and because you have it, trying to show some appreciation, right? Trying to be humble and stuff like that. Because again, like, you can always find many things, right, out there. There are people dying as we speak all over the world from war, right? So a lot of these things, while they might not to you seem right now relevant, hey man, I asked you, how do you stay focused? Why are you talking about war? Because all of these perceptions of things can help you to in fact be happy, which is required to be focused, and they can help you to be interested about things because you have the privilege to work on them, right? I mean, look at me, I'm 35 and I'm designing buttons, right? Literally, I mean, that's almost childish when you say it out loud. It's hilarious. Look at this 35 years old guy, he's designing borders. What? You get what I mean? It's ridiculous, right? People at the age of 35, I don't know, 100, 200 years ago would die, right? Their life expectancy was 40, and I'm sitting here like a little asshole designing buttons, right? So again, very relevant to your question, even though it might seem it's not, but you have to build up the perspective on things, right? And when you do that, then you'll be able to focus and be happy and appreciate what you have. So that's my take on it, not to open up even more discussions. Yeah, 35 looks like 65, assholes. You're just jealous that you're not as pretty as I am. Let's face it. Let's face it. You know that I'm right. You know that I'm right. My pleasure, Tim. It's a genuine answer as always, and I live that answer as well. So I'm not parroting it. Those who've been watching me for a while, they know I'm not saying it just to appear cool. I genuinely believe in what I said. I think that it's so easy to lose yourself in your own reality, right? While you know, not and often forget that your reality is amazing, right? Of course, I mean, no matter what one says, right? I can say all of this stuff. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not by no means suggesting, oh, just think every day how happy you are. It's gonna all be great. No, of course that's not the only thing. So don't misunderstand me. It's a mixture of things, right? You know, it's not easy, right? No matter how self-aware you are, I think human beings are inherently, in our nature, we are. If we can get away of not doing something, we'll just do that, right? So Numinex, my friend, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm doing this literally because of you, so don't you dare not to come tomorrow. You better be. All right, so we have what we have. Asshole. What do we have? Wait a minute. Yeah, okay, so that's what we have, right? Okay, cool. And we have this title here, right? All right, cool, right? So now we can associate the titles to that specific action that we are on, right? How can I give you referrals, man? I don't know who you are. You just sent a random message on my stream. I mean, if referrals worked that way, they wouldn't exist as a concept because they would be meaningless. Ah, I thought I'm showing the code. Sorry. My bad. Pro streamer. Okay. So that's good, right? So we have that pretty much now down, right? So we almost more or less have what's necessary for this thing to be used, right? So now in theory, right, one can, right, because we're calling this function, this handler that we passed. Where is it? This one, right? Where is it? Right. So we're getting pretty much this thing, which essentially, yeah, consumer can use. But let's see what's happening. Ah, okay. It's because we are. This is no longer action ID. It's action. And let's just do this. Yeah, there we go, right? So now the one consuming this can say, okay, user has clicked on action, whatever. I'm going to fetch this. Otherwise, I'm going to fetch this. Otherwise, I'm going to fetch this, right? And I guess the next step would be memoizing that, right? Or caching it in a way, right? And I mean, that thing doesn't really belong in this component, right? So let's not, so we need to be very careful. This is just a simple component that shows things when you click on them, right? So the memoization part is going to be on the consumer's side. So when you use this thing, you can, or if you want, or if you don't want, you don't have to, you can memoize, right? And so when we start using this new thing, yeah, I mean, I think my service already does cache because I wrote this wrapper around Axios. I have my own Axios wrapper, right? If we go to the actual project, right? So I wrote this Axios wrapper, my own requesting with the request and response interceptors. And as you can see, I'm using this Axios cache interceptor, right? So to some degree, you're right. Let's see, I forgot. So you can see Axios performs small and powerful caching for Axios made, okay. Yeah, right. So maybe it would already be cached by default, right? But again, caching and naming things in programming, as we know, are probably the hardest thing that exists, right? So so it's always painful to properly cache, right? Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, so I mean, we can probably leave it here. I mean, I don't honestly know if there's more that we want to do, right? Yeah, actually, there was that kind of automatic. So I guess we could, in theory, do that, right? So let's implement that, and then let's round up. So, and that was, where was our to-do thing? So we did this, right? So some sort of carousel or whatever, right? So for these props not to get... So we need to namespace these things now, unfortunately, right? Because we can see I don't want this to be all about the action. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have actions like as we do now, and then what we're gonna do, we're gonna have action items. Then we're gonna have the handler as part of this, right? Then we're gonna have carousel, whatever, right? And we can treat it implicitly if carousel object is passed, carousel is enabled, and we can have the interval, which is going to be a number, for example, right? So now we have to fix these things. So the actions here. So we're going to say action items. Then we're going to move this fellow over here. Right? Okay, cool. We're going to pass carousel now, even though we didn't implement it yet. So we'll just say, hey. And then we want to say change the stuff every 1 second, right? And then I'm just going to grab this and smack it in the other story just so it doesn't complain. I'll do this, right? Okay. And then here we're going to have actions, which is going to be slightly different. So actions dot action items, right? Okay, so that should let's make sure that it still works. It does. That's great. So now the carousel logic, right? So we need to kind of have some interval that we can set and clear. That's gonna basically call so it's basically an effect that we can have, right? So here we're gonna say use effect. And we're gonna say actions.carousel, right? And we're gonna say here if no action carousel, exactly, we want to return, so we don't want to run anything. Otherwise, yeah, this is a little bit messy. A little bit messy, but it's okay. Cassie, my friend, thank you seriously for coming, dude. I hope to see you again whenever you can, man. So as you can see, yeah, carousel works. Of course, we need to make sure that it kind of goes. So yeah, so we would expect it to kind of go in a certain order, right? And of course, keep in mind, right now it's of course super fast, right? And I will personally not use this in Programmer Network, but this was just for fun, just to build something, right? I hate these dynamic things, right? They're very annoying. But yeah, but if you would have 4-second delay or something like that, right? Then it's less intrusive, right? It's less annoying. But yeah, but this is now slightly problematic as well, right? Because yeah, we need to also clear the interval if user clicks, right? So user should be able to pause the carousel or whatever, right? All right, let's maybe stop here. Let's go and see if there's any questions. If anybody, especially new, if there's anybody that I can help, I'm very happy. And then I think we can round up. It's midnight here, and like most of you need to go to work, or need to. I actually don't know if I'm gonna work tomorrow. My son has he's a little bit sick, so we'll see how it goes. No. My son has these, these things that this red rash. What is it called in English? Give me 1 second. He has measles, I guess. That's how you say it. Measles, yeah. So they're kind of coming out now slowly. So yeah. Yeah, you know the red thing pretty much, yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, he's good so far. I put him to sleep, so let's see how he is tonight, right? He's probably gonna have fever and a lot of that stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun night for us as parents, right? So yeah. All right, let's see. So I guess there's no questions at all. By the way, Cedric, did you finish your place? Did you like furnish it and stuff? So what's the status on that? But what's happening, man? That sounds very painful, man. Very painful. Painful. All right, Cedric, let's go to bed, man. There's not many people tonight here. No questions, no discussions. So let's just round it up. Then we discuss it another stream if you're around. Sounds good? I guess it sounds good. You're the last one, exactly. All right, well, I love you, man. Thank you for coming. Everybody else, if there's anybody else there, have a good night, and I'll see you another time. Peace out. Cheers. Bye-bye.